No one noticed the small human ship entering the dead sector. That alone should have frightened the galaxy. Because when humans appeared in places where no one else dared to go, something unexpected usually followed. The ship looked harmless enough. Old paint. Scratched hull. Engines that hummed like tired machinery. The name on the side read Starlight Drifter, though most station workers simply called it the junk collector. Inside the cockpit sat a human named Marcus Hale. Marcus wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero either. He was a salvager. His job was simple: fly into dangerous places, collect broken technology, and sell it to whoever paid enough credits. Most species thought humans were strange for doing work like that. Humans thought it was just another Tuesday. Marcus leaned back in his chair while the ship drifted through the silent sector. His scanners blinked softly, mapping clouds of debris left behind by some ancient battle. Another quiet day, he muttered. The universe heard him, and immediately proved him wrong. A loud alarm screamed across the cockpit. Marcus jumped forward. Okay, that's new. The scanner had detected something impossible. A life sign. Out here. Marcus stared at the screen. This region had no stations. No colonies. No ships. Nothing survived here. Radiation storms alone could destroy most vessels in minutes. Yet the scanner kept blinking. One signal. Weak. Fading. Marcus rubbed his forehead. Don't do it, he told himself. Every salvager had rules. The most important rule was simple. Don't get involved. But humans had another rule too. Don't leave someone to die. Marcus sighed. Why do I always do this? He adjusted the ship's course. The Starlight Drifter slowly moved toward the signal. At first Marcus saw only floating debris. Pieces of shattered metal spun silently in space. Some fragments still glowed faintly, as if they had been hit by something unbelievably powerful. Then the scanners zoomed in. And Marcus froze. Floating among the wreckage was a figure. Humanoid. But definitely not human. The alien woman drifted through space, unconscious. Her armor had been destroyed. Pieces of advanced plating floated around her like broken glass. Strange glowing patterns ran across her skin, dim and flickering like dying stars. She looked powerful. Even injured. Marcus swallowed. Yeah, this is definitely above my pay grade. Still, he activated the tractor beam. The alien was slowly pulled into the cargo bay. The moment she entered the ship, every alarm Marcus had exploded at once. Energy spikes. Unknown technology. Weapon signatures. Marcus stared at the warnings. Fantastic, he whispered. He grabbed a medical scanner and rushed to the cargo bay. Up close, the alien looked even more dangerous. Her body was tall and strong, built like a warrior. Her skin carried faint metallic patterns that reacted to the ship's lights. Most alarming of all, her wounds were precise. Not random damage. Someone had hunted her. Marcus activated the medical unit. Human technology struggled to analyze her biology, but Marcus improvised. He had treated strange aliens before. The rule was simple. Stop the bleeding. Stabilize energy flow. And never touch anything glowing. Hours passed. Outside the ship, a radiation storm howled across the dead sector. Inside the cargo bay, Marcus worked carefully. Finally, the alien moved. Her fingers twitched. Marcus stepped back slowly. Her eyes opened. They were sharp, bright, and extremely aware. For one tense moment, neither of them moved. Then the alien quickly scanned the entire room. Marcus. The medical unit. The exits. The ship layout. She understood everything in seconds. Her hand moved slightly, reaching for a weapon that was no longer there. Marcus raised his hands calmly. Easy, he said. If you try to kill me, you'll probably bleed out first. That would be awkward for both of us. The alien stared at him. Then something unexpected happened. She relaxed. Just slightly. You should not have saved me, she said quietly. Her voice carried a strange metallic echo as the translator struggled to understand her language. Marcus shrugged. Yeah, I get that a lot. She studied him carefully. Do you know who I am? Nope, Marcus replied honestly. And judging by my computer having a panic attack earlier, I'm guessing that's a good thing. The alien remained silent for several seconds. Then she spoke again. My name is Elira. Marcus nodded. Nice to meet you, Elira. I'm Marcus. Professional junk collector and accidental alien rescuer. Elira looked confused. You joke in the presence of danger. Marcus smiled. That's how humans deal with it. For a moment, silence filled the cargo bay. Then Elira's expression turned serious. If those who hunt me discover that I survived, she said slowly, they will not simply destroy this ship. Marcus raised an eyebrow. What will they do? Her answer was quiet. They will erase everything within several star systems. Marcus blinked. That sounds inconvenient. Elira looked at him with disbelief. You are not afraid. Oh, I'm terrified, Marcus said. I'm just used to it. Before Elira could reply, the ship's sensors screamed again. Marcus rushed back to the cockpit. His blood went cold. Something had entered the sector. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't even a ship. It was enormous. A massive fortress of dark metal slowly emerged from the void. Weapons lined its surface like rows of glowing eyes. Elira stepped beside him. Her face turned pale. They found me. Marcus stared at the massive warship. Well, he said slowly. That escalated quickly. Elira's voice was quiet. That vessel is called a suppression arc. Sounds friendly. It exists for one purpose. Marcus swallowed. And that is. Elira looked directly at him. To erase history. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Fantastic, he whispered. Then he cracked his knuckles. Because humans had one advantage the galaxy never understood. When faced with impossible odds, humans didn't surrender. They improvised. And the galaxy was about to learn why that was terrifying. The massive warship outside did not move. It did not need to. Its presence alone bent space around it like gravity had suddenly decided to obey a new master. The suppression arc drifted silently in the darkness, larger than any vessel Marcus Hale had ever seen. Even from millions of kilometers away, its weapons glowed faintly. Marcus leaned closer to the console. Tell me that thing isn't scanning us, he said. Elira stood beside him, still weak but alert. The glowing lines on her skin flickered brighter as her senses reacted to the threat. It is scanning everything, she replied. Marcus sighed. Of course it is. Across the cockpit screen, long waves of energy pulsed through space. The arc was mapping every atom in the region. It wasn't searching carefully. It was erasing uncertainty. Marcus watched the data feed pour across his display. Okay, he muttered. That's a problem. Elira studied him. You cannot escape it, she said quietly. That vessel can track ships across entire systems. Marcus scratched his beard. Well, that's rude. He tapped the console again, opening a dozen windows of diagnostic data. Humans had one strange habit the galaxy rarely understood. They talked while thinking. Sometimes nonsense. Sometimes brilliance. Marcus was currently somewhere in the middle. All right, big scary death ship, he murmured. Let's think. The arc continued scanning. Long beams of pale light swept across space like searchlights the size of continents. One of them passed close to the Starlight Drifter. Marcus held his breath. The beam moved on. Good, he whispered. They think we're junk. Elira frowned. That will not last long. Marcus nodded. Yeah, figured. He leaned back and looked at the enormous ship again. Something about it bothered him. Not the size. Not the weapons. The pattern. The arc wasn't moving randomly. It was positioning itself carefully. Marcus zoomed the scanner out. His eyes widened. Hold on. Elira turned toward him. What? Marcus rotated the star map. The Ark had placed itself directly between 3 nearby star systems. Like a wall. Elira's expression darkened. They are sealing the sector, she said. Marcus blinked. So we're trapped. Yes. He nodded slowly. Great. Love that. For several seconds the cockpit remained silent. Then Marcus suddenly snapped his fingers. Wait. Elira raised an eyebrow. What? Marcus's eyes sparkled. You said they want to erase history. Yes. And that ship is their tool. Yes. Marcus grinned. Then they must be extremely confident. Elira didn't understand. What does that matter? Marcus leaned forward. Because confident people stop checking small things. He began typing quickly. Elira watched the human with growing curiosity. You have a plan. Marcus shrugged. Maybe. What is it? He pointed at the scanner. That Ark is powerful, but it's designed for big targets. Yes. Fleets. Planets. Civilizations. Elira nodded slowly. That is correct. Marcus smiled. Which means it probably doesn't care about one tiny, worthless salvage ship. Elira suddenly understood. You will hide. Marcus shook his head. No. He looked back at the Ark. I'm going to annoy it. Elira stared at him. That is the worst plan I have ever heard. Marcus laughed. Trust me. Humans are very good at annoying things. He quickly opened the cargo systems. Thousands of small metal fragments floated inside. Salvage junk. Broken ship pieces. Old sensor dishes. Destroyed engine parts. Marcus activated the release ports. Step 1, he said. The cargo bay doors opened. Debris spilled into space like glitter. Thousands of pieces drifted outward. Elira watched in confusion. You are throwing trash at them. Marcus shook his head. Not trash. He opened another control panel. Tiny transmitters hidden inside the debris suddenly activated. Each fragment began broadcasting weak signals. Fake ship signatures. Fake life signs. Fake weapon systems. Elira's eyes widened. You are creating ghost ships. Marcus winked. Exactly. Within seconds, hundreds of false targets filled the Ark scanners. Small ships. Large ships. Civilian vessels. Military cruisers. Even fake asteroid stations. The Ark scanning beams shifted instantly. They began analyzing the new signals. Marcus watched the data. Come on, take the bait. Elira whispered. That will not fool them for long. Marcus nodded. I don't need long. He slammed another switch. The Starlight drifter engines flared to life. But not forward. Down. Directly toward the radiation storm below. Elira grabbed the console. You are flying into the storm. Marcus grinned. Yep. That will destroy the ship. Probably. She stared at him. You are insane. Marcus laughed. Maybe. The small human ship plunged toward the swirling radiation clouds. Behind them, the Ark continued scanning the hundreds of ghost signals drifting through space. For a moment, it didn't notice the real ship leaving. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Step 2, he said. Elira's voice was tense. What is step 3? Marcus smiled. Survive. The storm swallowed the Starlight drifter. Radiation lightning flashed across the hull. The ship shook violently. Inside the cockpit, alarms screamed. Marcus ignored them. He steered deeper. Almost there. Elira held onto the seat. You cannot hide in this forever. Marcus nodded. Good thing I'm not planning to. He pointed forward. Through the glowing storm clouds, a massive object slowly appeared. Elira gasped. An ancient structure floated inside the storm. A massive ring of dark metal, thousands of years old. Dead. Silent. Marcus grinned. Found it. Elira looked at him. You knew this was here. Marcus shrugged. Old salvager trick. The ancient structure rotated slowly. Half of it was destroyed, but its core still held power. Elira suddenly understood. You will use the station. Marcus nodded. Exactly. She looked back toward the Ark. Even through the storm, its massive silhouette loomed in the distance. They will eventually find us. Marcus smiled. Maybe. He powered up the station's ancient systems. Dusty consoles flickered to life. Energy surged through forgotten circuits. Outside the storm, the suppression arc finally realized something was wrong. Its scanners returned to the original life signal. The signal had vanished. The arc began moving. Slowly. Directly toward the storm. Elira watched the giant ship approach. Her voice was quiet. They are coming. Marcus leaned back. Good. Elira looked at him in disbelief. You want them to come? Marcus grinned. Absolutely. Because humans had another talent the galaxy never expected. They could turn ruins into weapons. And Marcus Hale had just found the biggest weapon in the entire sector. The storm flashed again. The ancient station hummed with awakening power. And for the first time in thousands of years, it prepared to fire. The ancient station had been dead for thousands of years. At least, that was what every galactic database claimed. But Marcus Hale had learned something important during his years as a salvager. Just because something looked broken didn't mean it was useless. Sometimes it only needed the right person to wake it up. And humans were very good at waking things up. The sleeping giant. Deep inside the ruined structure, ancient machinery began to hum. Dust that had floated untouched for centuries shook loose as power slowly returned to forgotten circuits. Massive conduits along the station's inner ring glowed faintly as energy moved through systems that had once belonged to a civilization older than most known species. Marcus watched the monitors carefully. Come on, he muttered. Elira stood beside him, still amazed. You are repairing technology that predates half the known civilizations. Marcus shrugged. Repairing is a generous word. The console sparked. A screen flickered. Then suddenly, lines of alien symbols flooded across the display. Marcus grinned. See? Still works. Elira stared at the screen. How do you understand this? I don't, Marcus said. But computers do. He connected the station systems to his ship's translator and let artificial intelligence do the heavy lifting. Slowly, the station's purpose became clear. And when Elira realized what it was, her eyes widened. This is not a station, she whispered. Marcus leaned back. Yeah, I figured. It is a defense weapon. Even better. The hunter approaches. Outside the radiation storm, the suppression arc moved closer. Slow. Silent. Unstoppable. Its scanners had finally located the last trace of Elira's energy signature. The massive ship began entering the storm without hesitation. Lightning flashed across its armored hull. The Ark did not care. Storms did not stop machines designed to erase civilizations. Inside the ruined station, alarms suddenly appeared across Marcus's console. Uh-oh. Elira looked at him. What is happening? Marcus zoomed the external display. The Ark had entered the storm. Even through the radiation clouds, its massive silhouette looked like a moving mountain. It found us, Marcus said. Elira's voice was calm. That was inevitable. Marcus nodded. Yeah. He stretched his shoulders. Good thing we're almost ready. Human improvisation. Marcus activated the station's power grid. Energy surged through the ancient structure. But there was a problem. A big one. The weapon system required far more power than the station currently had. Marcus stared at the energy numbers. Yeah, that's not enough. Elira looked at the readings. You cannot fire the weapon. Marcus scratched his head. Not normally. He opened another screen. His ship appeared on the display. The Starlight Drifter. Old. Damaged. Full of salvaged technology. And one very dangerous engine core. Elira suddenly realized what he was thinking. No, she said immediately. Marcus looked at her. Maybe. You will overload your ship's reactor. Marcus nodded. Probably. That explosion will destroy everything here. Marcus smiled. Not if I aim it right. Elira stared at the human. You are planning to turn your ship into a power source. Exactly. And survive. Marcus grinned. Hopefully. The arc fires first. Outside the station, the suppression arc finally saw them. Its weapons rotated slowly. Massive cannons began charging. The arc had reached its conclusion. The entire region would be erased. Inside the station, warning alarms screamed. They are charging their weapons, Elira said. Marcus nodded. Yeah, I noticed. The arc fired. A beam of pure white energy tore through the radiation storm. The blast struck the outer ring of the ancient station. Metal exploded into glowing fragments. The structure shook violently. Elira grabbed the console. Another hit like that will destroy us. Marcus slammed a switch. Then we better hurry. The human gamble. Marcus launched the Starlight Drifter. The small ship shot out of the station's docking bay. Straight toward the arc. Elira stared at the display. You are flying directly at them. Marcus's voice came through the speakers. Yep. That is suicide. Marcus laughed. Only if it fails. The little salvager ship looked tiny compared to the arc. But size didn't matter. Because the human ship wasn't carrying weapons. It was carrying something much more dangerous. A plan. Marcus pushed the engines to maximum. Radiation lightning flashed around the ship. The arc locked onto the target. But it did not fire immediately. To the arc's ancient programming, the ship looked insignificant. A piece of debris. A mistake. That mistake gave Marcus exactly the time he needed. All right, he said. Let's make some fireworks. He overloaded the reactor. The power of a human idea. Marcus ejected the reactor core. The glowing sphere shot directly toward the station. Then Marcus turned the ship sharply. The reactor exploded. Not like a bomb. Like a miniature star. The blast wave slammed into the station's energy collectors. The ancient weapon suddenly came alive. Power surged through the structure. Every system activated at once. Elira stared at the energy readings. It's working. Marcus's voice crackled over the radio. Good. Now fire it. The shot that changed everything. The ancient station rotated. Massive weapon arrays aligned with the approaching arc. Energy gathered along the structure's core. The suppression arc finally recognized the threat. It began charging its weapons again. But it was too late. The station fired. A beam of blue-white energy erupted from the ancient weapon. The blast crossed millions of kilometers in seconds. It struck the arc directly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the arc split in half. The massive warship broke apart like glass under pressure. Explosions ripped through its hull. The greatest weapon of the galaxy collapsed into burning fragments. Inside the station, silence filled the control room. Elira stared at the display. The arc was gone. Destroyed. She slowly looked at Marcus. You defeated them. Marcus shrugged. Technically, the station did. You activated it. He smiled. Team effort. The galaxy notices. Hours later, distant sensors across the sector detected the explosion. Entire civilizations began asking the same question. What destroyed a suppression arc? When the data finally arrived, The answer shocked everyone. A single human salvager. And a wounded alien warrior. Working together. Elira looked out the window at the drifting wreckage. The galaxy will fear humans after this. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Honestly. He smiled. I'd settle for them finally respecting us. Elira nodded slowly. They will. Because the galaxy had just learned something important. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the most advanced. But when humans faced impossible odds, they didn't surrender. They adapted. They improvised. And sometimes, that was far more terrifying than any fleet.
No mames, un conductor de Uber, qué asco. ¿Qué onda, güey? No te vayas. ¿Y eso? No sé qué era, la neta. ¿Qué onda, comita, alias el Gus? Andaban haciendo misiones, güey. ¿Cómo andas? Oh, you drop your quest right there. It's right there.
Oh, drop my quest.
Aparte, voy a los furros. ¿Cómo? No, güey, los furros hacen daño, güey. Nos tomamos una foto bien perrona con los furros, ¿quieres ver?